How do you know if we need to come off TRT when trying for a baby?
Yeah, okay. So the baby stuff. This is a big fucking convoluted, depending on who you talk to, topic. So I'll give my 2 cents, but if someone heard differently elsewhere or someone disagrees, then like cool. Like it's I'm not saying this is the only way, this is just how I look at it. So my biggest priority when I'm talking to people about fertility and being a father, which is what the conversations I'm talking to people about, is you need to be a capable man. Like any male can be a dad, but not every man can be a father. Like there's a big difference. So if you've got low testosterone and your life is complete fucking shambles and you can't look after yourself and you're having panic attacks left, right, and center, conceiving offspring is not the priority. Like it really shouldn't be. And if it is, then you're setting yourself up for some really stressful times, because when that baby comes, you are fucked, my friend. Unless you can get your shit together. So the most important thing is like, and this is where guys go, oh, I don't want to go on TRT because it might compromise my fertility. And I'd say that the biggest compromise that you've got going on is going to be another decade of low testosterone in terms of how that's going to impact A, your actual fertility, but B, what kind of sperm are you going to be producing? What kind of genetic blueprint are you going to be passing on if you've had low testosterone for decades prior to conception? Your child is not going to be the same child that would come out if you had conceived a higher testosterone baby due to the epigenetic signaling of these hormones. And this, to me, is common sense. Has this been studied? No. But it's something that we can just look at and go, yeah, I intuitively feel like I want to pass on the best version of myself. So well before I was into all this stuff around hormones, I was very into epigenetics. That was one of my main areas of interest. And what people can do prior to conception, as well as while the mother is pregnant, to impact the epigenetics of the baby. And what all the studies I looked into showed in all different pathways is that your physical, mental health prior to conception for even multiple years will have a very strong impact on the genome of the baby, and it becomes more influential the closer it is to the actual pregnancy occurring itself. So people really need to focus, number one, on going, I need to look after myself first to get myself to the optimal level that I can be as a man. And then I need to address the fertility question. So that kind of makes TRT for some people just part of what they have to deal with. So when it comes to the fertility matter on TRT, basically what I say is if you were fertile before you started TRT, you should be able to regain or maintain at least a level of fertility that allows for a successful pregnancy to occur. So I recommend people at first, and ideally, I haven't had anyone have to come off, but stay on TRT and add in 500 units of HCG a day while you're trying to conceive. Like this is a higher dose, but HCG primarily stimulates LH, but it also has spillover to FSH. So I recommend using, if you're trying to conceive, use a minimum of 250 units a day, which is the amount required for maximizing intratesticular testosterone production. But I think to get more spillover into LH, it makes a bit more sense to push it up to about 500 units a day. If that fails, and assuming that she's all good as well, then you want to look into adding in something like HMG or FSH, and then doing that to basically bring it home, so to speak. So that's like your big trump card in the back pocket. And then if those options fail, it likely meant that your fertility was compromised in the first place. And if that was, and this is the biggest thing that I see happen all the time, is that what people need to understand is if you have and had low testosterone for a long time, there is a good chance that your fertility is compromised because it's the same area of the body that has dysfunction. So where there's smoke, there's fire, and it doesn't mean that we'll always have issues. I don't have any fertility issues, fortunately, but it depends on what got you to the low testosterone state that you started your treatment. So a lot of guys don't realize that they were infertile before they started treatment. They find out they're infertile and they blame the TRT. That's not really correct. And while I do see some guys get quite heavily shut down fertility wise from TRT, I see plenty of guys who don't. So it's case by case, but ideally you want to be able to stay on TRT and use HCG and HMG to conceive and not have to come off, because that way you're going to be passing on the best version of yourself. You're also going to have a way better sex drive and sexual function as well. So you'll be able to have more chances of scoring a goal, so to speak. And yeah, that's just what I found has worked best for people. And I haven't had anyone need to come off.